Hello and welcome back to another reading of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, this being A Christmas Carol in prose, being A Ghost Story of Christmas by Charles Dickens, with 4 illustrations in color and 4 woodcuts by John Leech, a facsimile of the original edition with an introduction by J.K. Chesterton and a preface by B.W. Metz, London Cecil Palmer, Oakley House, Bloomsbury Street, WC1. Tonight, we finish off Stave 4, Part 4. And tonight, I am actually going to give you a little bit more because I've been late on posting. So I do apologize. We may dive directly into Stave 5, or I may save that for another video. We'll see how much we have left in Stave 4. I don't think that there's much, so I might just jump straight into Stave 5 Part 1. This is the part of the video where I tell you that if you want to jump ahead and just have the story, please jump ahead to what I have written down here, or when I pick this book back up again. If you want to stay for the history, facts, and opinions portion of the video, feel free. If not, jump ahead. Tonight, I'm actually going to tell you a little bit about the illustrator for Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Mr. John Leech. Now, John, in the book, right at the beginning, again, it says 4 illustrations in color and 4 woodcuts. So there are 8 images in total. You can go and look these up on Wikipedia or anywhere else. The Dickens Museum has all of them in their originality on their website, and they're wonderful. So John Leech actually grew up in London, but he was born in Ireland. He was educated at Charterhouse with W.M. Thackeray, who is another novelist that is very well known. However, he is more associated with A Christmas Carol, and just because of the illustrations that he made for A Christmas Carol. He actually was going to study medicine, but he gave that up to study art instead and published a book called Etchings and Sketchings by A. Penn, Esquire. Yeah, go figure that one. In 1835, when he was just 18. From 1841, he contributed hundreds of sketches of middle-class life and political cartoons to magazines Punch, the Illustrated London News, and Once a Week, and lauded by late Victorian illustrator George du Maurier as one of the most significant and influential illustrated periodicals, which is one of the reasons why Charles probably was either teamed up with through the publication company or introduced to John Leech as an illustrator, or either possibly approached John by himself to illustrate A Christmas Carol. Specifically, one of the most well-known pictures or portraits that John Leech made was probably this one of Fezziwig, or the one of the Ghost of Christmas Present, where in the ghost itself is basically a depiction of the Dagda, or as I mentioned in a previous video, or basically Santa Claus showing up and talking to Scrooge. These were hand painted specifically for A Christmas Carol, and the woodcuts were done as a print. So there was a note that if you look up the version of this book specifically on Amazon, there is a note in the Amazon listing for this book. We were also told it while we bought this book in London at a tiny little shop that specializes in replica copies and older books. It's was actually right across from the British Museum, and it was a delight to go into because you had to ring a bell in order to get into the shop. Yeah. But the note here on the Amazon listing says John Leech's illustrations were created as engravings which had to be colored by hand or through woodcuts, due to the desire to create an edition that is as faithful to the original as modern typesetting technology will allow. They are not modified or enhanced for this edition. Readers should be aware that Leech did not produce his illustrations using computers, as this method, which does in fact allow tremendous clarity, was not invented for more than 100 years later. Furthermore, while this edition is in full color, not all of Leech's illustrations were in color. Many of them were in black and white, and only the ones that were in full color are in this edition. So there you go. That I couldn't have explained it better, other than that the ones that you see in here, those are the original colors. Those are what they probably would have looked like in their heyday, and what is transposed in this book is as close as we can get. Now, I did find a $75,000 first edition copy for sale on a website, and just as a comparison, if you would like, here is a comparison of what it looks like in that edition, in that copy, and what we get here in our copy. So honestly, it's not too different. I would say that the digitalization of the image is maybe making this a little bit brighter, but because this is a print, this could be a little bit darker as well. So it's hard to say if it is in fact that bright, or if this is more closer to the original. But I would say that they're pretty darn close, all things considered. It's not emphasized anywhere that Charles Dickens told Leech what to draw, or told him what scenes he would like illustrated in A Christmas Carol. However, we do know that the images portrayed in the book, or the scenes portrayed in the book, are focused heavily on the ghosts or the spirits themselves, and the pivotal moments that happen in between the characters. John Leech also did woodcuts for The Haunted Man, The Battle of Life, Cricket on the Hearth, The Chimes, and a couple of other ones that I can't really find anywhere, but I have seen it. It is a depiction of either Bob Cratchit or Scrooge with Tiny Tim on his shoulder. And this one is precedingly done after Charles Dickens' death in 1870. So this one was done in full color. I'm not sure what happened to it. I had it saved on the computer to show you, but I can no longer find it. So we're just going to continue on and pick up the book where we left off and continue our reading for tonight. Who knows, I may even be thinking of a different artist. Anyway, Stave 4, Part 4. "Spectre," said Scrooge, "something informs me that our parting moment is at hand. I know it, but I know not how. Tell me, what man that was whom we saw lying dead?" The ghost of Christmas spirit yet to come conveyed him as before, though at a different time, he thought. Indeed, there seemed no order in these latter visions, save that they were in the future, into the resorts of businessmen, but showed him not himself. Indeed, the spirit did not stay for anything, but went straight on as to the end just now desired, until besought by Scrooge to tarry for a moment. "This court," said Scrooge, "through which we hurried just now, is where my place of occupation is, and has been for a length of time. I see the house. Let me behold what I shall be in days to come." The spirit stopped. The hand was pointed elsewhere. "The house is yonder," Scrooge exclaimed. "Why do you point away?" The inexorable finger underwent no change. Scrooge hastened to the window of his office and looked in. It was an office still, but not his. The furniture was not the same, and the figure in the chair was not himself. The phantom pointed as before. He joined it once again, and wondering why and whither he had gone, accompanied it until they reached an iron gate. He paused to look round before entering. A churchyard. Here, then, the wretched man, whose game he had now to learn, lay underneath the ground. It was a worthy place, walled in by houses, overrun by grass and weeds, the growth of vegetation's death, not life. Choked up with too much burying, fat with repleted appetite. A worthy place. The spirit stood among the graves and pointed down to one. He advanced towards it, trembling. The phantom was exactly as it had been, but he dreaded that he saw a new meaning in its solemn shape. "Before I draw near to that stone to which you point," said Scrooge, "answer me one question. Are these the shadows of things that will be, or are they the shadows of things that may be only?" Still the ghost pointed downward to the grave by which it stood. "Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends to which, if preserved in, they must lead," said Scrooge. "But if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Say it thus, with what you show me." The spirit was immovable as ever. Scrooge crept towards it, trembling as he went, and following the finger, read upon the stone of the neglected grave his own name. Ebenezer Scrooge. "Am I that man who lay upon the bed?" he cried upon his knees. The finger pointed from the grave to him and back again. "No, spirit! Oh, no, no!" The finger still was there. "Spirit!" he cried, tight clutching at its robe. "Hear me! I am not the man I was. I will not be the man that I must have been before this intercourse. Why show me this if I am past all hope?" For the first time the hand appeared to shake. "Good spirit," he pursued, as down upon the ground he fell before it, "your nature intercedes for me and pities me. Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life." The kind hand trembled. "I will honor Christmas in my heart, and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me that I may sponge away the writing on this stone." In his agony, he caught the spectral hand, and it sought to free itself. But he was strong in his entreaty and detained it. The spirit, stronger yet, repulsed him. Holding up his hands in one last prayer to have his fate reversed, he saw an alteration in the phantom's hood and dress. It shrunk, collapsed, and dwindled down into a bedpost. And here is the image by John Leech of Scrooge weeping at the spirit's feet. In case you couldn't see that one, this is a slightly better rendition of it. And that is where we stop for tonight. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Stave 5, the end of it. Good night.